There's some incredible music out there. We have to find a way that still has integrity and still authentic and still has a human element to it, but finding ways to like get these artists some listens and get them some fans. If we all have the best intentions and understanding this art form, this music is a human experience, we'll figure out the rest.
Hi, I'm Hazel Savage, and today my guest is Charlie Ogbechie, who's the Artist Development and Relations Lead for Europe at SoundCloud. In this episode, we'll talk about how he got his start throwing coach parties, how to improve your career on SoundCloud as an artist, and the importance of authenticity. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Always a pleasure to chat to someone, especially someone I already know technically because we're colleagues. But for those who don't know, who are listening or who are watching, how do you like to introduce yourself?
First and foremost, thanks for having me. I'd like to introduce myself as Charlie Ogbechie. So first name, last name. Actually, my first name's actually Charles, but in school, secondary school, abbreviated it to Charlie, thinking I was super cool. But Charlie Ogbechie is it's my name. It's what I've been using since I was born.
Yeah. Now, do you have a middle name?
Yes, my middle name for short is I've got a longer version. So I'm Nigerian, I'm from Igbo tribe. So I've got a longer version which is Ife Chukwude. For short, it's Chuks. Yeah, but I don't go by Chuks because I've got a cousin called Chuks. It's very, very technical.
Got it. But your industry name, Charlie Ogbechie.
Charlie Ogbechie. Now people who see this will be like, Nigerians in the industry who see this going to be, Chuks, if you're Chukwude, that's what they're going to start calling me now.
They're gonna see you. They're gonna say it.
100%.
There you go. I love it. So how'd you get into music then? What's the journey?
The long story is I was actually in university studying. My first university, I went to Kingston. I was studying automotive engineering.
Okay.
Yes.
This is left field. This is not where I thought we were going.
It was not. It was interesting. As firstborn Nigerian son, it's either be a lawyer, doctor, or engineer.
Engineer, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was something I was trying to do. Wasn't really working out for me in education. We weren't seeing eye to eye. Best way to put it. But then I moved over to a uni called Middlesex, where I started doing marketing. But in the halls, I came across a few people that were doing they were in arts and entertainment. And I've always had a love for music, but actually seeing people actually actualize their dreams, actually doing stuff. I shared halls with someone who was on radio and what have you, and going around with him, he kind of his name's Aaron Fontaine, going around with him, I kind of actually saw, there's an opportunity here for me to dabble into something. So at uni, I got involved in events. I was involved in the African and Caribbean Society. And there I was putting on parties, so on and so forth. And then my best mate, he's also a DJ. So in short, we just started doing throwing our own parties, small to big size, and with a few other people, big uni parties where we had 3,000, 4,000 people going to venues in Leicester, Nottingham, Birmingham, all that kind of stuff. So that's I'm just really trying to condense it. So it was finding these parties, but for me it was just more than platforming DJs. I was obviously being really into the music. I was interested in artists. So fortunately, doing these parties, I was able to book artists like Gigs and Krypton Conan, Style OG. There's loads more that that were able to book. This was years and years ago, and that's how I met a few of those people. And so doing those parties, that kind of set me up for I guess the entrepreneurial spirit, and just understanding a few bits and pieces. And I got an internship at EMI. This was my first proper industry job. I should also add I was also doing some volunteering stuff wherever I could volunteer, even if it was just being on the door for a showcase night, wherever it may be. But so I did all that. So started at EMI, then went to then was at a company called United Development, formerly known as Urban Development. They're a talent development partner. They get funded by the Princess Trust, National Lottery, so on and so forth. Then after that probably was the big move when I got a job at Live Nation.
Right.
So in all this, I was still throwing parties, doing all this stuff, still keeping me active and busy and networking, all that kind of stuff. But I was getting these great opportunities at these big companies, and that's from there, from Live Nation to Warner. into SoundCloud. But yeah, it was just like, I think the foundation was throwing parties and just like then showcases and just like working with emerging artists and emerging DJs that, yeah, like now who've gone on to be doing some amazing, great stuff, which is great to see. But yeah, that's my foundation.
Yeah. What you said there really resonated with me. Me and education didn't get on because I feel exactly the same way. When I went to university, on the last day of my last exam, I'd already packed all my belongings into my £200 Ford Escort car, and I walked out of the exam, into the car, drove off, and I never looked back. I hated it.
I definitely feel you. If you were to see pictures of my graduation, I think I only went to my graduation because my mum really wanted me to.
Same. I didn't want to go, and they were like, "Yeah, but you're our first kid to get a degree, so we got to go." I didn't want to go.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I spent my uni experience was, because I said I went to Kingston for a year, so I was actually in uni longer. So I've got a sister who's 2 years younger than me, so we graduated like a few months apart. She's the brains.
She's the academic.
Yeah, she's the academic.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple other siblings who are more academic than I've ever been. But I just think like my smarts laid in other places.
Yeah. But I'm loving the sound of this because you were throwing all these parties. It almost sounds like, well, what they'd say now is you kind of like side hustled yourself into the job.
100%.
Like you just started doing it because you loved it. And then did you kind of look around and go, oh, actually, this is the career?
Yeah, it was because when I first started doing like the showcases, so we're doing parties, which is like, okay, cool, you just sell tickets, got DJs, book the DJs, so on and so forth. It's when we made the change to doing showcases, because as I mentioned, my best friend who's a DJ, but he also had like a radio show, like, and at the time there was a community that were always listening to his radio show and like artists sending their music. And I've like, amongst like my friendship group and what have you, maybe because I've been so tapped into the industry side of things on music, I was like, okay, or just being business minded, how can we like bring this to life?
Yeah.
So from that radio show, we then like set up this showcase night where we had comedians, singers, rappers, all sorts.
Yeah. So was it genre specific when it came to the music? Was there like a theme?
Like my go-to was always like R&B, rap, Afro-beats, dancehall. So we like the singers were always in that space. Say quote unquote black music, but like this, obviously we didn't get into electronics, so on and so forth. But that's where like our bread and butter was, because also like the music that we were listening to at the time, like Afro swing was going crazy. Obviously you got R&B, like Afro beats. As I mentioned before, I'm Nigerian, so like that stuff is like was the bedrock of our party, and the community. So those were like the artists were coming out from those spaces. So it was that shift into doing the showcase stuff which really like got me thinking, hey, like there's a career here. Because when you start dealing with booking agents, and at the time I was green, and they're saying, send over the offer. I'm like, what do you mean an offer?
How do you send an offer?
Yeah, they're like
ChatGPT would have really helped that then.
Really, but then like I'm talking to some of these agents who now like they're some of the biggest agents in like the world at the time, or have come out of the country, and they're saying, oh, send the offer. I'm like, I'm just asking, how much is this person for this show? Like, but the offer then over time, especially
you have to play the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, when being at Live Nation, it taught me like the offers, like, okay, how much you spend on marketing, how much is this, like, what's the ticket split, how much is the ticket gonna be, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like was hustling our way in, but we were doing the things that we didn't know that had official titles. Yeah.
You were just like, we figure we have to pay them, so we figure out what that looks like. You didn't know all about this, calling it an offer and putting it together.
All that kind of stuff. And like how we were booking some of those people, like I remember gigs, like there's I got connected to him via we call him Uncle Colin. Like he heads up EGA Distro. But I knew him from when I was at UD, and I just hit him up, yo, Unks, I'm trying to book gigs. He just connected, and that's how, like, I guess through like the various things that we were doing, it's just like building up that network and like looking out for one another. But over time, it's like, oh, this is how it's meant to be. Unfortunately,
and that is the music industry as well, isn't it?
Exactly,
it's that network effect.
100%.
And so I think you mentioned before that you put one of these parties on in Leicester. Like, what made you sort of go outside of London? What was the pull there? Because I know, I mean, I'm from the north, you know, I see the whole of the UK, I'll go anywhere. But normally I've met a load of people from London who are like, they've never been out of London.
You know, fortunately, I went to uni at a time where there was a real thriving scene of like coach parties. So that's what they were called. Like, so there was like, and especially like in like the scene, like in the music I was talking about. So you had like the uni houses. I'm just bigging up a whole bunch of people, but uni house, roadblock. So there was different promoters who like, a lot of people from London went to like Leicester Uni or De Montfort University or unis in Nottingham, Luton, Birmingham, just all across the country. But a lot of them were from London, or they were connecting with people like were like locally, but enjoyed the music.
Yeah.
So these things were happening, and I had friends like who were like some of my closest friends that he went to he went to De Montfort, and so he had started doing some stuff in Leicester. And like we just connected, and me and like we were doing some of the stuff in London, and just made sense to get involved in that. And just saw like it's nuts to get 3,000 uni students in one place, and it's all good and there's no issues. But also on top of that, you're organising coaches. Like you got coaches leaving from London.
So when you say coach party, you mean a literal coach?
Yeah,
they're getting the bus and they're getting the ticket in the bus.
Getting the ticket, getting on the bus, going up the M1. Different motorways going to, let's say.
Can you have a little drink on the coach? Is that part of the vibe?
I'm not. None of us were doing it free. we weren't doing it. Fortunately, but this is the thing. Like to put on some of these events, like you're going up against like risks that you couldn't never like imagine. Like in one event, like some students got on the wrong coach, and or like a whole bunch of them got on a coach that was meant to go to one university, and they end up at another university. Like some of the, but like even then, like we were doing things like figuring out, like writing press releases. We were doing trailers, like videos, promo videos for these events. We had flyers, we had promo CDs. Like we're doing all these things that now, like obviously, like it's marketing stuff. But at the time, we're just thinking, how are we just going to get a bunch of these people into this place? And speaking with these coach parties, and like we were like 19, 20, 21. Yeah. Like speaking with these coach companies, you need to be here at 10, and we're going back at 4 a.m. in the morning, and this is how it, like just dealing with all those logistics. Yeah. And now I'm even just thinking about it now, like
a coach party's still a big thing.
I don't think then from what I've
that's a shame.
From what I've checked him recently, and they're not as big as they used to be. Like, I don't think they're even really happening. But it was just a golden time. Yeah. To be fair, like, because that stuff was really like a lot of people made great relationships and had great memories from that. Like, I'm from London. I'm throwing parties in Birmingham or Nottingham. Nottingham was like, I think Oceana. I can't remember, like 3,000, 4,000 cap. Yeah. And it's like you've got people from Northampton. Some of the furthest places you can think of coming to enjoy these parties.
And who's your favourite artist that you've booked? Or is that like asking you to pick a favourite child?
Well, I say the favourite artist on book, because we could get into like there's other bigger events that I've been involved in, but at the time out of those, I would say the one that meant probably the most was Gigs, because of what he means to UK rap, what it means to British music. Anyway, like Gigs or Gets, just because those are like those are our legends, those are our greats. Yeah, and the fact that we've able to Krypton Conan was amazing too, because that was just right on the back of like they were just having an amazing moment. It was about to really go off for them, but probably Gigs, because that was like we felt like we've kind of like arrived. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. So we fast forward a little bit to 2024. Tell us, what's your role at SoundCloud?
So my role is artist development and relations lead for Europe. So that basically just means working with artists, predominantly independent artists, working with them and their teams to educate them on how best to use the platform, how to make the most out of it, championing their releases and what have you internally, trying to get them involved in like marketing opportunities and activations.
And so there's a real through line there, right from what you were doing back at uni when you didn't even know what it was called or what you were doing, right up to what you do today.
No, 100%. It's like, it's just working with artists in many different capacities and various different ways, and now like fortunately I just get to do that day in day out with artists of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah Yeah, brilliant. And I did want to ask you as well, because, you know, for anyone who's listening, no matter what year they're listening in, it is 2024. What is exciting about music to you right now? Like, what are the trends you see and what are the things that most excite you to keep you doing this job?
Like, I was thinking about this as I was heading in here. Like, I was actually listening to one of our playlists, our jams playlist on the platform, which is our UK R&B playlist. And I think one of the exciting things about that is I would say the globalization of like UK music and its acceptance, and it's loved across the borders, across the pond, everywhere now. Like, and having conversations with people, my industry peers across like many various territories, that enjoy the music, and like, so that's something that I think is great now. Like platforms like SoundCloud and are just allowing artists to just have fun. I think that's another interesting thing now, because I've received a text yesterday from someone who works on a prominent artist team, and another email today, and like people are just like, yo, I just want to have fun. Yeah, like they've got their official releases, their campaigns, what have you, but artists are creating music all the time. They just want to have fun. Like, I'm not saying that they didn't have fun before, but just finding different ways to just engage with their fans, just have fun, just release the stuff, like not think too deeply about some stuff, and really just bring the fun back into why they do it. That's something I think that's something I'm seeing a lot more now. Obviously, like, you've got the rise of like snippets, artists just leaking songs and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's everywhere. And like, fortunately, like working at a place like SoundCloud, we're seeing it day in and day out. And I think that's something which is super exciting, because like you can hold on to the music and be super protective. But I think now it's like, yo, let's just have fun, man. Like, we've got these fans, they just want to hear it. Like, let's just release.
And is that going to be like artist specific? Like, are some artists always going to be super precious and super cautious about what they put out, and then others might want to experiment more, and they do see that as a fun thing to kind of show the creative process, or show the things that don't work as well, maybe sometimes? I
think it's just a matter, it's just time. Some of the people I've been talking to, I think they're coming around to just to release and just dropping stuff after, like, we probably had a conversation about this a year ago, 18 months ago. Hey, this is just drop this seed, like, just have a think, like, and then they're just seeing some of the activity, and they're seeing like what's happening across the board, like with artists just like releasing stuff, and just like there's out of cycle releases, or just unofficial releases. And I think so those who have been super precious, I think it will just come a point where, you know what, like, I'm not saying everyone else is doing it, so I'm going to do it, but they're seeing like probably become more comfortable with doing it, because it's probably more accepted, and the fans, like, I won't say require it from them, because they definitely don't require it from you, but just finding other ways to like to serve and to share with fans and bring fans closer to what they're doing. So I just think that's, over time, we're going to see a lot more of those who we think are the most precious of their music just releasing.
And do you think if and when they have more fun with what they're doing, I assume it's got to be authentic?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, for me, it's always it's like it's the music first, and the artist's authenticity is paramount. Doing things that feel organic, things that feel true to them. So even though I may talk about, I'll drop in a snippet or a teaser or an exclusive to platform or whatever it may be, because a lot of the things are very similar, but how they're delivered has to be true to you. How you might want to do it privately, you might want to do it publicly for the whole world to see. You'll just find ways that work true to you, and I think that's the most important thing. Just like finding a way to do this stuff, but keep it as authentic to you as possible. No one wants you like to, because the worst thing is like you've seen artists that say, "Oh, my label or this are forcing me to do da 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 da."
Oh right, yeah.
Like that stuff happens. So it's like, just in your time, do what feels right to you. And like, fortunately, like, we have a platform where like, yo, we're gonna find a way to support any which way. It's like, it's a platform just to upload music kind of thing, not to sell in SoundCloud, but you know.
Well, we've had a few different things. Like we've had a couple of A&Rs on this podcast who have said, you know, SoundCloud's by far and away their favorite way to get like sent a link to a new track, right? So there's, and like you say, that's a private link, like that's not for public consumption. And then, you know, really famous example, you know, when Kesha dropped that track on SoundCloud, and then but for 24 hours only or whatever, then she pulls it down. What are some really cool examples? Like, what have some UK artists done that are really cool? Like, what are you seeing that you like?
So the first artist that comes to mind is like, and we talk about him a lot in the office, is an artist called Tendai. He's signed to 027 Def Jam. So he's signed to a major label, signed to Universal Music. However, how he goes about his SoundCloud experience feels very indie.
Right.
Like he uses it as part of his creative process, like, and he's to such an extent that he's built an audience around his radio. Apologies if I said it incorrectly, but around this experience where he could upload a demo, he could upload a snippet, what have you, like something he's created, and take it down in 24 hours. But there's such a rush to take it in, like people know about this experience, and
right.
It's grown, and like he's got peers in like who tap into this. Like, he's an emerging artist coming out from it, and he's super talented, and the way he uses the SoundCloud is probably one of the most authentic ways that we've seen. One of our flagship UK rappers, AJ Tracy, he had some festival performances, and he was handing out was it wristbands with a code to a secret part of his website, where he teased a snippet of his upcoming song. He had put a voice note on there, and also shared a stem for his song that he's got up now. It's Jogo Bonito.
I like that. It's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Even I feel excited.
No, so
I want to go find the snippet.
Exactly. So he's doing and this was private. So he's just using. So these are artists who are doing things in different ways. Like Lil Sims, she dope. Drop 7. She released stems for her project on the platform, and we did some cool stuff with the SoundCloud store. But that was amazing to see that she's top tier. She's one of the best we have using SoundCloud in a real cool and authentic way.
And I think this harks all the way back to you're doing a marketing degree, because like a lot of this stuff is, well, what we might call marketing is if you're looking at it from a business perspective, but really it's about these artists being authentic to themselves. Now that we've moved away from like, and I'm old enough to remember like physical retail, and we've moved away, you know, vinyl's coming back a bit, but artists who are trying to create that experience with an almost purely digital and online presence, they're getting creative with that element.
100%. Like, my role, like artist relations, is like, in all intents and purposes, is a marketing function. Obviously, like, where there's elements of customer service, where there's service to our rights holders and our partners, but it's marketing, and it's working with these artists to help them find their voice on platform, to find cool ways to use us as a vehicle to connect with their fans. And obviously, like, the music is a primary way of doing that. What we just, as I said, like, some things may be like the same, but just working with them to cut through the noise. Kind of thing.
So I know that you do these office visits as well, or like, I don't know, they remind me of sort of like listening parties, old school, like at the labels. So you might get, like you've described, a new artist coming in, and obviously we love to host them at SoundCloud. But what's happening in that room? Like, is it a listening party? Are you giving advice? Do you sit them down with a checklist, or what's the approach?
For us, for like. One of the main things is to making sure like artists feel like super comfortable.
Right.
The reason why that is because I've been in like various different kind of meetings, and artists don't feel comfortable. And oftentimes, a lot of them, some of the artists that we've brought in, it's like their first time.
Right.
Like coming into one of these offices, even though.
And also, if you've only ever been an artist, you've never been to a meeting.
Exactly.
I like literally remember the first ever meeting I went to. I worked at Shazam at the time, and I was like, I'm in a meeting. I couldn't believe it.
It's like these things may seem like super big. So we try to just chill. Like, we're just here to get to know you, kind of thing. But we speak on our best practices and how to make the most out of it. But we try and do it in like a light touch way, not to like overload the artist with like.
It's not like a lecture.
We're not trying to. It's not a tutorial. We're not trying to overload you with tons of information, because I'll overload your manager, or we can overload the label, so on and so. But with you, it's like getting to know the artists, getting to know them, what
Creative
they're like,
side. Yeah,
exactly what they like, what they're into, how they've got to where they are, where they're from, their inspirations, their influences, so on and so forth. Just try to get to know the human being, um, the human being behind the artist. And then we get into some music, we listen to some music, and they talk through that. And then when we're going through that, we're like, okay, like we might get ideas, and like, this will be working. This, it would be great if you did this, and we'll throw in some pointers as to how to make the most out of the platform. But it's really just like, we want the artists leaving thinking, yo, like SoundCloud are sick, man. Really like them, and the information that they gave me is like really, really useful. And often, like, we've been fortunate that I think also like being good helps, and having a great platform helps as well. But oftentimes when we have these meetings, like the outcomes are really, really great. The artists are even more leaned into
more engaged.
More leaned in, and we get some great stuff coming out of it.
Yeah, and that's got to be surely about you as a person as well, right? Have you got to be a certain personality type? Because really, it's, I imagine, building that relationship. It's artist relations, so you've got to be confident to talk to them, but easy to talk to. You know, are you consciously thinking of that?
Oh yeah, 100%. As I mentioned, I'm trying to make them super, super comfortable. So that's always like forefront of my mind. So how am I coming across? Like words I'm using, my body language, or like keeping eye contact, like speaking to the artist directly, not speaking around them, because they could come with management, so on and so forth. Making them like, how I personally feel about everything is, we're in the music industry because of the artists, we're here because of the creatives.
Yeah.
So I'm at service to you. I'm trying to help you actualize your dreams, kind of thing. So I always want to hear from the artists and try and make it as comfortable for them. So yeah, like, and so do things like ask them like where they're from and things like that, and just try to find a level of commonality, and relatability. Then we get into
I found a little bit of a cheat code with this back when I was at Museo. Like, I used to be it's slightly different. So I was in sales, right? So, but you're trying to connect with the other person. And for anyone who doesn't know, I'm an old rock and roller, right? So if I meet someone else who's into rock music, easy days. Like, we can chat all day long. And I was really struggling when it came to like chatting with all the dance music folk, because I ain't got a clue. I remember, so then that's when I hired Mac onto my team, because he's great at sales, but he's also a DJ. And he had 2 residencies in Singapore at the time. And I just felt like he was just like instantly more believable, more likable, you know. So we used to slice up all the clients by like, what are they into? You know, they want to chat rock, or they want to chat sort of electronic, you know. So I think you do have to sort of, it helps if you, I guess, walk the walk.
Yeah, no, 100%. You have to be like as authentic as possible, and honest as possible when it comes to the music you're into. Like, how can you relate and speak to their art, their genre of music, so on and so forth. You have a small team in the UK, so we kind of are across all the genres. But for me, what I found is, one, good music is good music.
Yeah.
So I will always find, no matter the genre, I'll find the groove, I'll find something which like I enjoy here. And oftentimes, fortunately, we've been blessed that we've had great artists come into the office. So it helps that the music's good. Definitely helps.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Definitely helps that the music's good. But it's also that just finding that like commonality, like, and them and artists talking more about their influences and how they came to create this music. Oftentimes I do the meetings with Dennis, our colleague, and he's probably more well versed in other genres than I am.
Yeah,
we
so
work together,
complementary.
100%, super complimentary, and I think we've had great success with that, like tag team on these meetings. But I think our passion shines through, and even if like we might not be super native to a genre or like the savviest or come from it as much as others may do, like I think our passion always like shines through, and the desire to like, let's figure it out, man.
So I've never asked you this before, but did you ever want to be a musician? Have you got any have you got some hidden demos on a SoundCloud page we don't know about?
Nah, I thought you know what, is at early age, maybe year 3, I did we had a talent thing in school. I wrote some lyrics to Tupac and Dr. Dre, California Love. I think that was the
Absolute
last
tune.
Yeah, I think it was
on Now 34. I think I had that CD.
Potentially, yeah. It was banging out. Year 3, I shouldn't have been listening to that song, but hey, here you go. And year 3, for those who don't know, that is 7 years old.
And we've just discussed this. I'm a little bit older than you, so I was probably all right with my compilation.
Exactly, CD. But and maybe in secondary school, I might have written a few lines. But I realised there are boys who are a lot more talented than me at doing it.
You were doing your own verse on?
I was trying to, but I didn't have the confidence to try and rap in front of people.
Right.
And so, and then we get to university, and I realised, you know what? And this has kind of been my ethos. There are more talented people at that than me, whether DJing or artists and so forth. Let me be the person behind the scenes that can help platform them. I'm comfortable with that.
And also, I think that sort of, you say you're putting on 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 cap venues, that's huge.
Yeah.
So when you start to see a little bit of success in that way, you start to think, maybe this is my thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's I've never really been one for the bright lights, the spotlight, my name in the lights kind of thing. I've got good friends and people around me who are who are better positioned for that. They've been DJing or they're artists, so on and so forth. And I don't know, I'm just cool with helping them out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And doing those nights, I was proud that we literally started doing some of these shows. So my best mate would be headlining, or he'll be one of the main DJs on these nights.
Yeah.
That was my incentive, and then it grew. And then from I was fortunate enough to be part of was it yesterday or 2 days ago, was a 5th year anniversary of a festival we did in Lloyd Park in Croydon, which was it was great. We had Wizkid performing, Burna Boy, J Balvin, Damian Marley, Nas. We had some big names on there, but so I think that was the kind of the evolution of me doing those parties to doing a festival.
Yeah. I love that. And so I know you've described your journey into how you got into the role that you currently have, your sort of your career history almost. But for anyone else wanting to get into artist relations, who might not be able to run these absolutely amazing parties because coach tickets don't exist anymore, 100%. Which I'm as gutted about as you are. What is some good advice? What does it look like these days, or what's a good takeaway?
I was for those trying to get in, I would say, as I mentioned, I think artist relations is a marketing function.
Yeah.
It's marketing, partnerships, and working there's a level of creativity is working closely with artists. So you could be you could be at a label, or you could be working as a marketing assistant, marketing manager, or what have you. And because you're working closely with the talent, that's really kind of what it is, kind of thing. It's just being able to work and have a desire to work closely with artists and their teams first and foremost, and to help champion them, platform their music, and just good at client management, kind of that kind of stuff. Because
so people thinking about potentially getting into this career, they've also got to start thinking about getting into it for the right reasons, right?
Oh, 100%.
Because you've just said there, it's got a marketing background. Don't just get into it because you just want to hang out with those people.
Oh, I'm laughing because that stuff's all good. Today, for example, I was first half of the day I was on a shoot,
right?
Because for one of our campaigns. And then the second half, I'm in spreadsheets, I'm in Google Sheets, or with release planning and going through.
That's not the glamour, is it?
That's not glam. I'm going through different emails and okay, this song's releasing, and have we got these assets, and so on and so forth. The actual work side of things, this actual so for those coming in, that there's opportunities with a lot of roles in music to work closely with the talent or what have you. But I think the best way to do the talent service and justice is doing the admin stuff right. It's doing the actual work,
doing the hard work.
Because none of the artists or managers, rights holders that we work with, gonna give two hoots if Charlie's a cool guy to hang out with, but he keeps he doesn't reply to
Drops
my
the
emails.
ball,
He drops the ball.
assets never go live.
Like all
whatever.
like
They're not going to be happy.
Our releases never get supported. He doesn't come back on email. All that kind of stuff. Like he doesn't give good advice. He doesn't do the education part, the fundamental parts of my. And also, I wouldn't be like internally, my teams will be like, oh, forget this guy, man. He just wants to have a jolly all the time.
Right.
Like,
so you've got to be known as someone people can rely on. Got to be consistent.
100%, and like have a good ear and not like be tapped into what's happening. Have good relationships internally, externally. Like the external bit, like sounds like super great, but I say to people like, no, regardless of what it is, it's still a job. You have people to work with, and there's dynamics internally that you have to contend with and navigate. And so also understanding that as well is like fundamentally, like you have to want to be good at the job. You have to want to like have a passion for, I want to platform artists the right way.
Yeah.
And some of the things I've laid out, but I think like marketing, there's good core fundamental skills that come with that help that set you up.
Yeah. And you just said something then I thought was really interesting about having a good ear. So I'm sort of interested in like how much music are you listening to on the reg? How are you, and how see that expression, but also how are you discovering stuff?
How much music am I listening to? It is,
I'm guessing a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't even put a number on it because there's quick listens, there's deep listens, there's stuff I listen to personally, there's stuff I'm listening to for work. So it's like it's a lot of music coming on, so I couldn't even put a number on it.
Sometimes when I'm in the car, I like complete silence.
But for me, it's podcasts, sports podcasts, football and basketball.
Because it's so different to the day job. Because my husband, he'll be listening to a load of music. When I get in, I'm like, switch it off. I cannot hear one more song today. Busman's Holiday.
No, I feel you, because also like you also want to be at a point where like when you're listening to some music that you're not thinking about marketing, you're not thinking about what can I do with this, where can I place it, or what's the opportunity kind of thing. Just oftentimes don't get me wrong, love music, it's like spiritual to me and always enjoy it, and I love hearing new exciting artists. I think that's like that feeling's never going to get old. It's like oh shit, like oh my goodness, like this artist is, it's amazing, like trying to like find out like what we can do. But how am I discovering artists? It depends where you are in your career cycle, so to speak. But where I'm at now, like obviously like there's a whole bunch of data and stuff and charts and this and that I'm privy to, that I'm across, so looking at kind of thing, but also like deep diving into what artists are listening to. Some of the artists are probably the best A&Rs.
So almost like a trusted network within a network.
Yeah, that kind of thing. For let's say on SoundCloud, you can go see like who an artist like has liked or who they follow, kind of thing. Like, oh, let me check that stuff out as well. Going deep diving into different kind of playlists, emerging artist playlists. Like I get sent a whole bunch of music as well. So and
is that coming from like labels, independents?
It's coming from everyone. It's
coming from everywhere.
It's coming from people who found my LinkedIn and said, "Oh, you work at SoundCloud? I'm an artist."
That's exciting, because I just get people on my LinkedIn with their like customer service inquiries. I've lost my password. I don't really get sent any music. I'm obviously not giving out that vibe.
No, I get sent the music, which is like, don't get me wrong, I made like joke about it, but it's sometimes you have to take a step back, and it's the position I've always wanted to be in. Like I get to listen to, share, curate, help music artists day in and day out, and I get paid for it. Goodness me, I can't complain.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, it's the dream, innit? But I do think, like, back to our original point, which is like, it does feel like the human brain maybe tops out at a certain number of tracks a day, like almost like, like snow blindness or whatever. Like
100%.
Too much or like even they say when you're like going to buy a new fragrance or something, you can only actually smell 5, and then the nose sort of stops being able to differentiate. And I don't know what the research is, but I naturally feel there's a volume of music at which point you just kind of like.
No, 100%. Yeah, like, so like. For me, I kind of like block out periods of the day when I'm listening to purely new music.
Right.
So I can give it, so I can listen to it with a fresh ear, and do it justice. Because if throughout like it, and that won't be at the end of my day. It's probably towards the beginning, the middle, and block out time just to listen to the new stuff I've come across, the new stuff I've been sent, so on and so forth. Just really like give it justice and really listen to it, take it in. And I think that's what works best for me. Because if I was doing it throughout the day, I'm listening to the new stuff. Well, I'll just tap out, because I could be on my commute and listen to music and it's just like.
And I think it's even shown that like it's a different part of the brain engaged when it's a song versus a new song.
100%.
So it's like that like you back to the active listening.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, the beautiful part is the new stuff you listen to, and it moves over. Let's say you've got playlists of the stuff I always listen to all the time. I love it, so on and so forth. And then this new stuff moves into that batch,
into the classics,
into the classics. Into this is part of my rotation now. This is not just new music we're supporting for the time, whatever. This is beautiful music. You're
like the human filter. Like we're trying to build like the AI version of you to like filter it through into the. Sorry, I'm in the tech world, so I'm always like thinking about how can we like scale that? That's it's a talent.
I think about the scaling aspect all the time, because like even though there's people like me who are in positions I'm in, there's only but so many of me, and there's a lot of music. But as an industry, like we're finding ways to like just trying to find ways to maximize that support, because with all the different tools there are for us to release music now, there's only but so many who are getting heard and people who are gaining fans, all that kind of stuff. But there's some incredible music out there. So we've got to, whether it's like through AI, we have to find a way that still has integrity and still authentic, and still like has a human element to it, but finding ways to like get these artists some listens and get them some fans.
I always think it's the combination of both, right? It's like the nightmare scenario is when it's like AI generated music been listened to like AI generated profiles.
Exactly.
Like there's no human involved. There's nothing of value here, right? It's like it's having that human in the loop, that sort of, whether it's yourself as a tastemaker, the team that you work with, the artists that you meet in person. That's where I think the actual creativity and the value is.
100%. And I think like in early days, we'll get there with the introduction of AI in music as it is now, and everyone getting to grips with it and understand it. But I think like with if we all have the best intentions and understanding like this art form, this music, it is a human experience. We'll figure out the rest.
And we're right on the cusp of it as well. Like AI is a bit of a nightmare at the minute, like in terms of what's happening in our industry. And I think it's exciting in a way because we're living through it. TBD. That's what I say. Let's see what happens.
100%.
Yeah, let's see what happens. All right. We've only got a few minutes left. So couple more questions for you as well. Sweet. Here. So I know you said you listen to a lot of music, but if there are artists out there who are already on SoundCloud, already active, brand new artists, how can they get on your radar? Like, what are some of the top tips?
So some of the, first and foremost is have an optimized profile. Optimized profile means like up-to-date banner, up-to-date profile picture, bio, social links in there, all that kind of stuff. Like ideally you have a Next Pro profile that allows you to spotlight your favorite tracks, so to speak. When people go onto your profile, these are the first ones that you want them to see. Second bit is have that Next Pro profile, have that Next Pro account, because that allows you to dig into your insights. So the things that we educate artists on in their teams is like having a Next Pro profile allows you to see who your top listeners are by track. Then you can DM them. You can actually build one-to-one relationships with them, and we've had some great examples of that happening. And you can see your top territory, so on and so forth. But we don't gatekeep some of that data. You can actually see by profile who is listening to the music. So we say do that, reply to comments. Some artists get tons and tons of comments.
Right.
Fortunately, we've got a tool where your comments are compiled, collated, and you can just go in and we just say that
right, so you haven't got to go through and click through on the waveform and find each one. There's an inbox.
Yeah, in your dashboard, using that helps. So because there's a stat, I believe it's 40% uptick in listens and engagement from fans when you reply to comments. So do that. So reply to comments, check out your insights, and have an optimized profile. Those things are some of the core elements of using the platform properly, and then you can go into even greater stuff. And like, you've got often artists will have their official releases on platform, but throw up some what we call like unique audio content, so whether that be a snippet, a teaser, a demo version, an acoustic
I like when you said before about the voice note. That genuinely hadn't occurred to me, that you could just pop that up as a as a message.
And you've got artists of all different genres doing it. Like recently, a UK well-known rapper by K-Trap, he released his album Smile, and he also delivered a track-by-track commentary with the album, which is great to see, because like, he's talking about some of like the thoughts, feelings, and what have you around some of these tracks, which is great. And it's something that these are additional things artists can do. So
the super fans are gonna get well into
exactly
that.
Yeah, so those are like some cool ways of really getting involved and like using the platform properly.
And you have just made me realise as well, I don't think my profile is optimised, because I'm pretty sure that my photo on my profile is over 10 years old, and that's not current.
No, I just joined the club. Mine is 3 years old.
That's better.
But I don't take a lot of pictures though.
Yeah.
So maybe I get a bly.
Yeah, I love having my photo taken. I got well more current stuff. I'm gonna get an update.
Yes, please do. It's like, we've got to lead by example.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, accurate. Lead by example. That's me. Perfect. So I also wanted to jump in and just ask you a little bit there about artists. It's kind of the DIY versus label, I guess, is where I was going to next, which is, does that have any impact on the number of artists you see? And are you seeing any more trends in that space, especially coming into SoundCloud, of people who are doing it all themselves or major label route? Like, what do you see?
So it's an interesting one, and it's a very, very good question. Some of this stuff also depends on territory, like whether it's US, UK, wherever in the world you may be. But for SoundCloud, it's a unique platform. We have a lot of emerging scenes that develop on SoundCloud, as you know, whether it be what's dark trap, plug and B. So and I'm forgetting so many, like, but these are like basically younger creators or younger artists who are like, and these are like super like DIY. They're like
evolving genres, aren't they? They're like
genres,
creating stuff,
super new, and like where some are we're throwing names on this stuff, but like these are like clusters of artists, and oftentimes they know each other. They're from a community creating these songs, and oftentimes they are DIY.
They're the new coach parties.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
I think they could be.
And like we just gotta see if like that, we can get them performing. That's a good shout. So someone.
I think you should start the new genre called coach party.
Oh, people might take offense with me trying to take.
Try to have coach party.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
No, but to be fair, like, it's very, very necessary, because as a sidebar, I think there's a lot of activity that happens digitally online on DSP, so on and so forth. But we need to like have more ways of bringing that into real life. Right. So these artists performing, so on and so forth, because that's how I came in. Like, your different shows all the time. A lot of these artists perform, but like we need more places for them, the newer ones, the earlier ones to perform. But for the DIY thing, a lot of the new and emerging artists, a lot of them are DIY. Yeah. And they're really like finding, like, they're just having fun on SoundCloud. They're just finding new ways, and as they progress, as they get, maybe I won't say polish their sound, but maybe that they define their sound a bit more. They find their own style, and that they're truly owning as they go up. Maybe they start working with a major label rights holder and what have you. And we're fortunately in a place now where even major label rights holders, they really are like engaging with SoundCloud.
Right.
Like, they're finding and they're seeing, rightfully so, the value of like being leaned into the platform. So you've got artists who are signed to the biggest labels in the world who are doing great stuff and who are finding ways to like be engaged. Like, I would say, get into the mud and like, yo, like, I want to talk to this fan who commented at 1 minute 26, like, yo, flame emojis. Like, they're finding ways. So there is like, obviously, like, the groundswell probably with the DIY and emerging artists,
right?
And I think that has helped, like, the excitement, the refound excitement that is around SoundCloud that we can all feel.
Yeah.
And now across the board, artists of all sizes and all places in their career are like, back leaning in. So I think it's like that DIY has helped build that excitement for maybe bigger artists, but also like the bigger artists are leaning in and doing that stuff, and it's so say they've got more eyes on them now. So then creators who are fans of these artists like, yo, they're using SoundCloud. Let me jump on.
There's that great buzz happening at the minute, isn't there? Like I was in a taxi today, and the taxi driver was really keen to show me his SoundCloud app in his car.
It's nuts.
He's like, check this out. I was like, yeah, cool.
It's absolutely crazy. I've got people like 2 years ago who are like, oh yeah, I'll say like, yo, let's figure something out. They're like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, SoundCloud, yeah. Now like I go to certain places and like, yo, bro, like I've got to figure out this SoundCloud stuff. Like everyone's talking to me about SoundCloud. I need to figure like, what can we do? Can we set up a meeting? I'm like, yeah, bro, like don't worry.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Like let's figure it out.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I think we're all seeing it. Okay, so final question. Just going to drop it in at the end. If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
If I could change one thing, it's a difficult one because we're not stiff, but like, stop being stiff, man. Like, like it's music. Like it's
right.
Like, it's like enjoy. Like I know, like obviously, like, we have jobs and what have you, and it's super serious. But like we're blessed to work in this. I just want sometimes everyone remember that. Yeah, we have like this is a dream. This is stuff like we like. Some of us fought really, really hard to make a reality. So enjoy it while you're here, because we're not always going to be here to enjoy it.
Well, I always think if you're not enjoying working in the music industry, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
You know, because you could probably make a lot more money in, say, finance. So
exactly.
If you're going to be unhappy, be unhappy as well.
It's definitely not just about the money, but also was there anything else I'll change? No, that's the main thing. Just some people just not having fun. Just have fun. Everyone have fun. Like don't take it too serious. It's serious, but it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like my wife's a teacher. Like she's dealing with like GCSEs and A levels and stuff. I'm like, that's serious.
Yeah. Big results, important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've not thought of anything more glamorous, but that's
it's a good one. I like it.
Mind.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for the chat today, Charlie. I've really appreciated it.
Thanks for having
and
me.
Also, even from my perspective, I know we work in the same office, but for me, it's been a really great insight, almost like a deep dive to like what's going on your side of the world.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.